Hi, I'm Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin, and this is the Not Wired Autocomplete interview. Who do I think I am? What does Gavin do for work? Well, what do I do for work? That is a question. So I actually am pretty much now like kind of a full-time booktuber. I did leave my job at Waterstones and I am no longer a bookseller anymore. But I am also a content creator for Wattpad, and that does get me by too. YouTube and Wattpad. It's a stunning mix. What is Gavin's accent? You might not be able to tell this, but I am Geordie. I mean, sometimes you can tell, but I feel like I've dulled my accent down so much that it can be kind of hard to tell that I'm from, like, Gateshead, Newcastle, and I speak a lot slower, and I try to enunciate everything more when I'm online. But if you caught me speaking to my family, my accent does come out a little bit more. So I do try and make it so that you guys can understand me in the videos. A lot of the time people think I'm Welsh or Scottish, sometimes Irish. Australian, I've had Australian as well. Okay, what is Gavin's favourite book? Okay, so I was asked what my top 5 books are of all time the other day, and I genuinely had no clue. I genuinely have no clue. I cannot give you my top 5 favourite books, can't even give you my top 2 favourite books. It's really, really hard. I do know that I absolutely love Frostheart by Jamie Littler. That one's like my favourite middle grade book of all time. But I couldn't really tell you, like, what is my favourite book of all time? I do not know. I just don't know what it is. I can't give you that information. What is Gavin's least favourite book? Okay, this I can probably tell you. And that is Den of Vipers by Katie and I friggin' hated that book. Made me so angry, and it was just poorly written. Anybody who thinks that book is a 5-star read doesn't love themselves. What is the blue squiggle on Gavin's hand, for f***'s sake? So it's not even on the right, I wasn't even looking at the right finger. So I do have this. It is a tattoo. It looked better when I first got it, okay? It was my first ever tattoo experience. I was in Canada with some friends and we were all getting tattoos and we wanted something on our, little finger, and I actually wanted a snowflake for Frozen, and I couldn't get that. So the snowflake was too big for a little finger. So I went for the rune symbol for water. And it definitely looked better when I first got it, okay? It was thinner, it was more blue, and it actually looked like a rune symbol. But now it does actually just look like a blue squiggle, but I get that all the time. I get it in person all the time as well, honestly. So, yeah. Is Gavin... Oh, can't get this one off. Gay. I was going to make a joke and say no, but I did that in my 2-year anniversary video, so I'm not going to go that route again. I think people genuinely believed I was straight after that. Suckers. Yes, I am gay. Who was Gavin's gay awakening? God, I've got so many gay awakenings. So many. It was probably Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid, not gonna lie. I watched that film to death when I was a kid, and I didn't realise then that I was just head over heels in love with Prince Eric, but he's always stood out to me as probably the earliest memory of fancying somebody who was the same gender as me. Yeah, I think that is my gay awakening, but I did have multiple gay awakenings over the course of my, I think probably between like 8 and 13. I think I just went through them all, honestly. It was a daily rotation of who was my gay awakening. Is Gavin in a relationship? No. And I've never been in a relationship. I have super high standards for men, and it's not my fault that these men can't, reach my level. Men need to do better. You need to do better, lads. But I'm not a virgin. I just want to put out I'm not a virgin. Does Gavin have advice for wannabe booksellers? So yes, I worked as a bookseller for 4 years, and my advice is, if you're having an interview to be a bookseller, try not to, this is obvious, but like, try not to lie about loving a book. Zero in on the books that you genuinely do love, even if it's obscure, because during an interview, at least when I had an interview, the focus was whether or not I could like sell a book. So it doesn't matter what book it is, as long as you have a favourite book and you can talk about it in your interview and show a lot of passion for it and convince the interviewer to read it, then that's a sign of a really good bookseller. Not the only sign of a good bookseller though, it's just like part of it. But yeah, I think just have fun with it. It's not always the best job at times because, retail and sometimes customers are the worst thing you can ever deal with. Yeah, just keep a level head and just keep that passion and love alive for your favourite books, and you will not go wrong. How does Gavin manage bad mental health days? So I haven't actually had a really bad mental health day since probably September. And I remember I was in the middle of filming my Goosebumps video. I got to around about book 9 or 10, and it wasn't even just doing the books that got me in a really bad mental health funk. I just hit rock bottom. I had moved into a new house. I was by myself. I didn't have Ash or Toby at that point. And I just I remember I just crashed. Like, that was just a really bad time. What helped get me through that, from what I recall, was that I just allowed myself the chance to tune everything out. I ignored a lot of things, which sometimes isn't healthy, of course, but one of my main problems is that I get overwhelmed very easily. So by eliminating any outside factor that contributed to my stress kind of helped. It did help to kind of ignore that. And I always knew, like, oh, I'd have to, like, confront this at this point, like, I'll have to do this at a later date. But just being able to kind of hibernate in that moment really did help. So I feel like when I have a bad mental health day, now I've got 2 kittens to cuddle, so, you know, I'm usually fine. Yeah, I just kind of tune everything else out and I just focus on me and what I'm doing in that moment and what I can do to make myself happier, whether that's to focus on a different hobby, do something else that I'm passionate about, or like relive some kind of childhood memory that I love, like say a childhood favorite movie or TV show. I remind myself why I should be happy, and usually that makes me happy again. And the next one, what would Gavin name his autobiography? It would have to be something about men, wouldn't it? Men in drama. Dixon Drama, The Life and Times of Gavin Hetherington. And the marketing material of that would be like, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. That can be the little quote on the cover. What would Gavin's housewife tagline be? To quote that popular Miley Cyrus song, I can't be tamed. And then I would have a whip and I'd be like, and then I would probably take the cameraman's eye out at the same time. Does Gavin believe in the supernatural? I partly do, which is very vague. Like, you either believe or you don't believe. But, you know, there are things that I do believe in. I do believe in energy, and I believe in there being something more out there rather than what we can actually see and touch. So I partly do believe it. I'm not fully convinced, but at the same time, I don't rule ghosts out or demons or things like that. I don't rule it out. I have had some weird ghostly experiences, like seeing figures or things moving on their own. I do believe something has done that. I don't think there's just nothing else. There's got to be something more out there. So yeah, I kind of do. I lean more into, yes, I do believe in the supernatural, rather than not. So I would say like I 65% believe. What is Gavin's dream job? Well, I'm kind of doing it at the minute, really, because I love more than anything making content, doing really fun videos and things. That's something that I really love doing. Yeah, I'm kind of doing it now. I'm kind of living my dream job. And writing as well. I'm doing writing on Wattpad. Yeah, it's like, this is kind of the dream for me, and yeah, I mean, it would be great to have something more stable, I guess, because obviously YouTube, it could fall apart at any moment, and it's not really a stable kind of thing. But you know what? Live in the moment. I'm not trying to worry too much about the future. I'm happy now. I'm doing fine now, and I'm living my best life. What can I say? Oh, I should have had wine. What is Gavin's go-to coffee order? I love coffee. I'm obsessed with coffee. My go-to order is just a plain old cappuccino. I just love a really strong cappuccino. If it's during fall, pumpkin spice latte all day, every day from Starbucks. I do like drinks with syrups in them. I do like me a toffee nut latte. I do like gingerbread latte, things like that. I do love stuff like that. Not a seasonal, but every single day I will have a cappuccino. I've got to have that caffeine kick without any extra flavour. It just has to be that. And I'm good to go. 3 down, 3 to go. What made Gavin start posting videos on YouTube? So if you don't know, I actually started my channel back in 2006. And I used to post a lot of videos about Disney. I had like loads of videos, like tributes to like High School Musical, tributes to That's So Raven, and like anything Disney related. And I did actually do pretty well with that. I had nearly 1 million views on one of my Cheetah Girls videos, but I took pretty much all of them down when I started Booktube, or I think a year into starting Booktube, because all of the copyright. I was inundated with copyright strikes and copyrighted things on that. So I got rid of pretty much all of it, apart from one. And it's one of the oldest videos on my channel, back from 2007. It's just best moments from one of my favourite That's So Raven episodes. That one doesn't have copyright on, and it was the only video that didn't have copyright on. So I've kept it up. And that's really just because I wanted to have something from my previous kind of era on YouTube to exist on there still, so that I can still be like, oh yeah, I remember I did used to post videos before Booktube. So that's still on there. But why did I kind of make the transition to Booktube? I kind of got caught up in the hype for the Owls Readathon back in 2019, April 2019. And I saw some like TBR games, and honestly, it just kind of inspired me to do that. I was reading so many books, and I was having like my best reading month since before university, that I was like, you know what, I want to kind of share my thoughts on these books online. And I did. I ended up making my first Booktube video April 2019. Yeah, it's been what, 3 years now? 3.5 years? And it's been a journey. But the Owls Readathon is what inspired me to start a Booktube channel. That really got me kind of passionate to start a new adventure and move from the copyrighted Disney shit. What inspires Gavin to keep going on Booktube? If I'm ever in a sort of like Booktube slump, I do like to watch my friends' Booktube videos. I do consume so many because I'm subscribed to so many great channels that I never seem to run out of content to watch. And honestly, just seeing one of my friends or even just one of my favorite Booktubers talking about books, or, you know, doing some kind of challenge and doing something creative with that content inspires me to do the same, and it drives me on. So fortunately, I haven't really had a Booktube slump in quite some time now. I feel like this year I've kind of planned content ahead of time, and it's usually content I'm really excited for. So I've just announced that I'm doing like a stay in one of the most haunted castles in England in October. And having an idea like that, having that kind of content to look forward to making, makes me excited to continue making content in the moment. So even if I'm just filming something that I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm not really that bothered about this video, but you know, I've got videos that I'm really excited for coming up, I'll still be able to do that video. And it's not often that I feel that way about my own videos. I'm usually really passionate and excited about making every video on my channel. Yeah, that keeps me going, just keeping myself in the frame of mind that this is something that I'm passionate about, something that is making my creative juices flowing, then that keeps me going. I never go into a Booktube slump because of it. What is Gavin's top 5 videos he's created? Also, I feel like this is like such a stupid idea that I'm doing right now. It doesn't matter. And that goes into what, you know, inspires me to keep creating. Okay, top 5 videos that I've created. I will mention my Goosebumps video, my 3.5-hour Goosebumps video. That one, I would say, is probably my favorite. It took all month to do. It was a bitch to edit, but you know what? I'm so proud of it. My Cabin in the Middle of Nowhere vlog was just such a time. Even though it didn't go as planned, it was still so fun to make. So that's probably my second. Oh god, I don't know anymore. I mean, that's also I'm proud of. Favorites, maybe my Animorphs one as well. That one's my longest video, 4.5 hours, and I got really passionate about talking about that one. And again, I love doing videos that really stimulate my creativity, and I feel like that one really did that for me. I don't know anymore. My Heartstopper reaction is my most viewed video, so maybe that one as well, but I wouldn't say that was one of my personal favourites, so actually I'm going to take that one off the list. It was fun to do, and I love Heartstopper so much, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite videos. You know what, I don't think I've got 5. I do have a playlist on my channel called My Greatest Hits, and I do, oh actually I know, actually, the Cheetah Girls video. I love doing the Cheetah Girls video, and also the Mamma Mia video as well. I've got it, yeah, okay, I know my top 5 now. I love the ones that get me copyrighted. So yeah, the Cheetah Girls one, where I read all 16 Cheetah Girls books, and also put myself in a couple of songs in the Cheetah Girls. And then maybe my Mamma Mia 2 vlog. I was much better with the green screen the second time around, rather than when I did my first Mamma Mia video. That's my top 5. Goosebumps, Cabin in the Middle of Nowhere, Animorphs, Cheetah Girls, and Mamma Mia 2. Yeah, those are my top 5. I had a bit of a crisis there, gosh. What is Gavin's favourite moment on Booktube? My favourite moments are always ones that are on live shows, and when I get to do live shows with my friends are usually my favourite moments, when I get to socialise and things. One thing that's not my favourite moment on Booktube, but was because of Booktube, is when I went to Jelke recently, and I was meeting so many amazing people who watch my channel, and having someone come up to me and be like, oh my god, I love your channel so much, and knowing how happy I make people, and saying it in person as well, because because it's very easy to say your name online and say a comment, and it's some of the best things is when you get a positive comment. But a lot of the times it's hard to put like faces to names, but actually saying people, like actual people in front of my eyes saying, love your content, thank you for making me happy and stuff like that and making me laugh, that makes me the most happy. So I think that's probably my favourite moment because of Booktube, is meeting people at Jelke who love my channel. On Booktube, probably the Slumber Party reading sprints with Lexi for Bookoplathon in 2021 with the Cruella de Vil face mask. That is probably my favourite live show of all time and favourite moment on Booktube, I would say. What advice would Gavin give himself at the start of Booktube? I would tell myself, slow down, bitch. I wanted to conquer the world in the first month of Booktube. Like, in that first month, I was like, why haven't I hit 10,000 subscribers yet? That was kind of naive me, thinking that I could sprint rather than just, you know, slow down, walk, and take in the scenery. Know that in time, that, you know, as long as you stay true to yourself and your personality and keep creating videos that you love, that you will grow. And I should have told myself that from the beginning, because there were so many moments when I first started when I wanted to give up. And I was like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to watch me and nobody is like liking my content and I'm not making anybody happy. So I would want to give up a lot back then. But now I'm just like, let's make that content. Let's entertain people, even if it gets me those copyright claims. Let's just do it. And yeah, just be the best kind of friend you can be to the friends you make online. And I'm fortunate enough that I'm still friends with a lot of the people that I started Booktube with. Yeah, I think I would tell myself, slow down and just appreciate what's happening right now, rather than look back on it later on and realize what you had, and just enjoy yourself. What is Gavin's worst experience on Booktube? I mean, I feel like I've talked a lot about some stuff that happened in my 2-year Q&A anniversary video. So if you want to know more like details on drama and stuff, I talk a lot about that in that one. Worst experience on Booktube. So I have had people resist, you know, accepting me in the Booktube community, whether it's, you know, making fun of me in their videos, subtweeting me. I've had that a lot. Another thing I would give myself advice on is don't respond. I would try to defend myself so much back then, and I would respond. I kick myself now thinking I should have just been the bigger person and just kept my mouth shut. But I usually feel this need where if somebody is saying horrible things about me or nasty things about me online, then if it's online, everyone can say it, so that means I should be able to defend myself. And usually it's just like a clash of personality, or people like just don't like me as a person, which is like fine. Like, you don't have to gel with my kind of personality quirks and things, but I feel like some people don't realize like how harsh they can be online. I shouldn't have responded to some things way back when, but I think my worst experience on Booktube has been, there was someone, and I mentioned this in my video in March, one of my videos in March, somebody who like would non-stop harass me in my comments and make, you know, fake accounts that would lead back to them by going on their about page and saying, you know, the username and then Googling that and then find them that way. And I was like, okay, I can see exactly what you're doing. But that person, it was the stupidest thing that kind of got them on this kind of warpath. And it mainly involved me starting a book club and doing the first couple of live shows and then realizing that the authors were watching the live shows and unfollowing after the fact. And I wish I didn't do this, but I would defend the book club. I would defend my honor and say, you know, we highlight positive and negative comments in live shows, so authors shouldn't watch these live shows we're talking about these books on. And this person obviously rubbed them up the wrong way and just didn't stop ever since. Yeah, and that was like 2.5 years ago now, and it was ongoing for a long time. That's my worst experience on Booktube, but fortunately I think it stopped. But then again, it could possibly start up again, and that's partly why I stopped reviewing so much middle grade on my channel as well, because people love to ruin that. Did Gavin only grow after the worst books Twitter drama? Again, I talk a lot about this in my 2-year Q&A. Yeah, if you did not know, I did do a worst books of 2020 video, and as soon as I posted that on Twitter, I got a load of picture book authors and children's authors in my mentions, replying directly to my tweet, calling me names, saying I'm a horrible, nasty person. Authors have been through so much in that year, and what I was doing was nasty, and, you know, really horrible, awful things. And then, you know, these authors were having group chats and saying other horrible, nasty shit about me. So that kicked off on Twitter. In response, a lot of people did defend me, and it was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to watch these authors kind of get taken down a peg or two about, you know, going into reviewer spaces, and especially when, you know, the video had nothing to do with them and not a single children's book or picture book was mentioned in that video. But yeah, it was nice to see how supportive a lot of people were for that. And yeah, I got a lot of support and I did grow after that. But I hope that that wouldn't be the only thing that helped me grow. For the longest time, actually, I was like, shit, maybe this is the only thing I'll be known for and the only thing that got me, you know, on a growth pattern. But I would like to think that ever since then, I've made videos that have really connected with a lot of viewers and helped me to grow, rather than the Twitter drama being the only thing that got my channel to where it is today. Because I just think it was just a stepping stone, which was so unintentional. Like, I did not want that hate directed at me for that video that I made, that everybody else makes. I had to kind of take it as it was happening and, you know, kind of turn it around and make it a positive thing. It did help me grow at the end of 2020, start of 2021. But I think ever since then, I've done a lot that has warranted me to grow. Yeah, hopefully you agree. If you disagree, okay. What is Gavin's worst experience with an author? I mean, I guess that kind of does tie into the Twitter drama that I had. What a lot of people don't know, and I can talk about this now that I don't work at Waterstones anymore, the ringleader of that whole drama thing was an author who had come into my store months before that Twitter drama happened and asked me while I was there if her book was in store, and it wasn't, and she got really arsey with me about it, and she wasn't very nice after that. And even when I was trying to talk to her about the illustrator of the book, because I was excited about the illustrator, she just ignored me and started talking to my colleague instead. So then, months later, when the worst books video came out and that Twitter drama started, guess who was the ringleader in all of that? You guessed it. Has Gavin ever lied about liking a book for an ad? Fortunately, I never got sponsored. Fortunately, I never do ads. I did one for Book of the Month, and that was just a one-off. It was just a kind of to test the waters and things. It was an amazing experience. I absolutely loved working with Book of the Month for that video, but I never had to review a book for a sponsorship or for an ad, so I've never had to lie about liking a book for it. I mean, I will admit I am quite biased with a lot of the books that are made by authors who I would consider like really friendly or like I'm friends with. Yeah, maybe I have embellished liking a book, but I've never lied about liking a book. Anyway, does Gavin have any regrets during his time on Booktube? So I guess as I mentioned, I mean, nobody should ever regret standing up for themselves when they see something horrible happen to them online. It's a double-edged sword because I feel like I'm somebody who has a following, so I do have to be careful about what I say or how I respond to negative comments, and I didn't really do that a couple of years ago, and I would be very hot-headed when it comes to responding to negative comments. So now I'm a couple of years older, I'm a lot more wiser and mature, and I've kind of calmed myself and not responded hastily to the shit people say online about me. If there's one thing I do want you to know, is just to always stand up for yourself when you feel like you should, but also know whether or not saying something is going to benefit you. As long as it's not going to cause you further stress and harm, then stand up for yourself. But if you think you're in a situation where it could escalate and get worse, and this could apply to anything, like in-person situations, online situations, then remove yourself from that narrative. Yeah, just ignore it if you can, but always stand up for yourself when you think you should. But I do wish that I had been a lot calmer back in the day. Okay, the last one. What are Gavin's top 3 favourite movies? My top 3 favourite movies, in no particular order because it changes all the time: Titanic, Jurassic Park, oh crap, what's the third one? Maybe Hocus Pocus? I feel like Hocus Pocus is the film that I could quote the most. It's the film I probably watched the most. So I would probably say those are my top 3 films of all time. Yeah, I think that's probably correct. What songs are on Gavin's most played on Spotify? So if I have a look at what I have on repeat, then that should help narrow it down. Now, I do know I listen to a lot of throwbacks. I listen to a lot of soundtracks. I listen to a lot of 80s music, 90s music, just never anything current really, unless it's something like Beyonce. But I would say probably, oh my god, like my on repeat song at the minute is Strut from the Cheetah Girls 2. I just freaking love that song, okay? Come to Your Senses from Tick Tick Boom is literally one of my favourite songs that I've discovered this year. We Don't Talk About Bruno from Encanto. I listened to that a lot at the start of the year, and I haven't listened to it in a few months, but it's still at the top. So it just shows you how much I listened to it at that time. There's a lot of Six, the musical songs, a lot of Little Mix. Gotta Go My Own Way from High School Musical 2. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that, because I feel like my music tastes are a little bit embarrassing. What is Gavin's favourite song from Six the Musical? Probably All You Wanna Do. The song that Catherine Howard sings. Yeah, I think that's probably my favourite one. I love all the songs, right? Whenever I listen to the soundtrack of Six, I always start at the very start and just listen to the entire thing from start to finish. I never leave a song out because that entire soundtrack is incredible. And I do have a soft spot for House of Holbein. Who is Gavin's celebrity crush? Well, it's gotta be Zac Efron, hasn't it? Like, he's been my crush since High School Musical. But other than him, I do love Dr. Mike. I've mentioned him a lot. I think I mentioned him in the last Q&A video. I just love somebody who is a doctor and saves lives, but is also like a model online. Like, he can do it all. And he also has a great YouTube channel. Oh, I love Dr. Mike so much. And finally, what is Gavin's 10-year plan? I don't have a plan. I genuinely do not have a plan. If I can still maybe do what I do today, in 10 years, and still make really fun content, make content that I'm really passionate about and that really helps me stay creative and helps me feel young again, that'll be great. Like, that's what I'd love to do in 10 years. Maybe I'd love to be a published author by then as well, have one of my works published, and just have some financial stability and be able to maybe own a house, maybe have settled down with a really good guy. I don't really care for marriage, but I guess if I found the right person, then I wouldn't say no. I'd love to be able to have travelled a lot by then and visit a lot of the places on my bucket list in 10 years. Just live my life and not worry about the future and be grateful for what you have now, today, and that you are doing something that you love. So if I can continue doing what I love in 10 years, that would be great. So that was the Not Wired autocomplete interview. A huge thank you to everyone who submitted those questions on Instagram a few months back. I'm so sorry it took me so long to do this video, but yeah, there you have it. That was the video. I hope you enjoyed it and I appreciate you watching. Please do leave a like if you did enjoy it and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below, chat to me. I would love to talk to you guys about anything and everything. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my content and making my videos possible. If you'd like to join my Patreon or follow me on any social media, all the links are down in the description box. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye.